Jesus answered Pilate, "My kingdom is not from this world. I speak to you in the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit." Get down out of that tree before you fall and break your neck. Scoot back from the television before you go blind. Turn down the volume on that music before you go deaf. For heaven's sakes, put down that stick before you poke an eye out. Some of my mother's favorite sayings. I'm happy to report, however, that I and all three of my siblings made it into adulthood with all of our limbs and senses intact. I promised myself, even as a child, that I would never repeat those phrases to my own children, but of course I've done it with great regularity and without hesitation. My favorite saying of my mother's, however, is one that she left for those moments of complete exasperation. She would say it from the driver's seat of the station wagon, shout it from the base of the stairs, or whisper it in the back pew of the church. When she is finally at her wit's end, she would say to us, "You children would absolutely drive the devil crazy." I don't understand what that means to this day, but as a child, I thought it was very funny, and it had the desired effect. We settled right down. You children could absolutely drive the devil crazy. I was thinking about these sayings with the coming of Thanksgiving and a whole other branch of family sayings. The first 100 times I heard these as a child, I would groan just like my children groan. Again, I swore I would never repeat them, but I can't help myself. The words flow out of my mouth before I can stop them. And hopefully these might sound familiar to you as well. It happens at family gatherings, usually directed at the younger members of the family, and it goes something like this. "My, how you've grown. I remember the day that you were born. It doesn't seem like that long ago. It is just amazing how quickly the time passes." Now, the subtext of these sayings are, time is precious. We have so much to be thankful for. We are so very blessed. This time is precious. We should treasure it. And of course, with those sayings, there's also the ritual of the pat on the head, the kiss on the cheek, or a bone-crushing hug, or some combination of all three of those. I have unapologetically embraced my inherited parental behavior these days. I think I've lived long enough now to see what my parents must have seen. I've lived long enough to have lost many who are dear to me. I've lived long enough to experience my own sadness and disappointment and failure. I've lived long enough to know that life is short and uncertain and indeed very precious to us. These times are to be savored. Without apology, I am now effusive, silly, foolish, expressing my love to those in my life. That happens at times of celebration, but also in the face of life's grim realities. It was Woody Allen who once gave the commencement address at a university, and he stood before the graduates and said, "You are about to step out into the world, and there are two paths ahead of you. One path leads to hopelessness and despair, the other to extinction. I pray you have the wisdom to choose the right path." Hopelessness, despair, extinction, is that what the world offers to us? Sometimes it seems that that is indeed the case. But we gather today to hear a different word, to embrace another truth, the truth. The truth is that our citizenship is not from this world, that our allegiance is to a king whose power this world doesn't understand and cannot understand. We give our allegiance to a kingdom that the world doesn't know. It's not a kingdom of wealth and power, but a kingdom of love and service. This liturgy today is filled with wonderful sayings, sayings that are etched in our heart and our consciousness that have to do with crowns and thrones, with royal diadems and heavenly anthems. They speak about a king whose will it is to restore all things. A king who sacrifices everything to make it so. This Sunday after Thanksgiving is the last Sunday in the season of the long season of Pentecost. It is the last Sunday of the church year. It is Christ the King Sunday. It reminds us that the church year ends just as the world will end, not in hopelessness and despair, not in an exhausted whimper, not in fear, not in eternal judgment. Because of Christ the King, the world will end in triumph and celebration and victory. For Christ the King was enthroned on the cross, is now enthroned in heaven. We gather today to hear his voice, to embrace his truth, to strive so that our lives may reflect the values of that kingdom of which we are a part. I'll leave you with one other set of family sayings that we often heard this time of year. Be grateful for what you have. Share what you have been given, and always err on the side of love. Time is precious. Life is precious. The people in our lives are precious. We should be effusive with our love. So pat them on the head, pinch them on the cheeks, hug and kiss them, and do not stop till they tell you that your behavior would absolutely drive the devil. Jesus answered Pilate, "My kingdom is not from this world. I speak to you in the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit."